Steve, I want to ask you about business planning for real estate investors. We all have heard that we need to have a business plan, a written business plan if possible, but just having a plan at all really is not in the cards for most investors more often than not. It's something you have to really understand the reason why, and you have to sit down and determine to do it. But starting kind of at the beginning, I just wonder if you could share some of what we've talked about before about some of the most important first things that need to be taken into consideration in that.
Well, here's what I have seen, JP. A business plan is extremely important, but I don't think that most people take business plans very seriously. I sold a business plan. You were instrumental in helping me sell thousands of business plans to people, and it was just a sample business plan template. And sadly, most people who bought those business plans, they would send them to me to review. I'd see what they were presenting to the bank. And then in almost every instance, they were just taking the sample and just like filling in their name and just changing certain things and then sending it to banks as is. And never were they taking ownership of the plan. This was just simply a document to them that really meant nothing. And but the bottom line is what a business plan is supposed to be is help you to understand what your business is about, help you to put the right plans in place to actually make that plan happen. And what I mean by that, the right plans, the right action steps. The business plan is sort of a vision for what your business is going to be. And then from that, you have the action steps that you need to take to make that come to fruition. But one of the things that I really see happening with beginners, right from the beginning, they start and they do the right thing in going off to develop a business plan, but they do the wrong thing in that they get so focused on this business plan that they're focused on, year number two, year number three. They're focused on deal number 12. And what do they need to do to make this plan come together? So, and what I mean by that, JP, is that most people, I see them coming up with goals. The quite a frequent goal that we see people coming up with is 12 deals a year. They're thinking in terms of one deal per month. It's a very common thing. Some people's ambitions are considerably higher than that. They want to do 50 deals a year, and they want to make gobs of money doing business. And they get so wrapped up on what is it that I need in order to do a dozen deals a year, or what is it that I need to do 50 deals a year, and how much money do I need? And I need to raise millions of dollars in order to be able to do 50 deals a year. And so they come up with this plan. They determine how much money they need. They have these projections written out as to how much money that they're going to make, and they've never done their first deal. And they're so wrapped up in their thinking of what do they need a year from now that they lose sight of what do they need today. And what I have come to realize is that many people never even get off the ground running because they never focus on today. They never focus on the action steps that they need to take right now to get deal number one behind them. Deal number two and deal number 10 and deal number 50 do not matter if you haven't gotten deal number one done. But they lose sight of that. They're so focused on having enough money to do their 12th deal a year from now, and they've never even bought their first property. And what I always have to tell students is to take a step back. Forget about all of that right now. If you cannot get your first deal done, you're not going to be. We don't even need to talk about year number two. It's irrelevant at this point. All of your energy, all of your focus needs to be focused on getting deal number one done. And so I have seen, and as I've reviewed business plans throughout the years, I've seen people say, well, I need to raise $2 million for my business to do what I want it to do for me, or I need to raise $3 million. And I've been in the business for a long time, and some of the most successful investors don't have nearly that kind of money at work at any given time. The most successful investors tend to need about enough money to do three deals within their market at any given time. And in a price market, that could be somewhere around 600,000 to a cheaper market could be $250,000. So somewhere between 250 and 600,000 is all that most investors really ever need available to them to keep their business up and running if they're turning properties and to keep on doing deals. But you don't need that much to do your first one. In some cases, you only need 50 to $100,000 tops to get the first deal done. And some people are so focused on raising that million or 2 million or $3 million, thinking that they can't be successful in this business, and they never get around to actually getting the first deal done. So the sad part is this: when people are so focused on the future, they're the ones who go to all the events, they buy all the courses, and they get so busy in the systems and putting everything in place that they never do a deal. And you see the statistics, JP, of the how small the percentage of people are that actually do deals. And this is one of the biggest things that they get hung up on. They're not focused on getting the first deal done. They're already thinking a year ahead, 2 years ahead. And as a result of that, they never actually get off the ground. Those who just sit there and focus on getting that first deal, just taking massive action and taking the steps to get deal number one done and behind them, they're the ones who are off to the races. They learn so much in that first deal. They put resources in place to be able to do that deal number two. Once deal number one is flipped and it's sold and they've turned a profit and they've freed up whatever resources they had tied up in there, they now can do deal number two. And as they develop a track record, more and more resources start to come their way. And then you start focusing on, okay, deal number two and three and four. You don't focus on those until you've gotten deal number one behind you. So my tip is take massive action, focus on deal number one, and not get so wrapped up with a year from now, because until you get the first one done, a year from now is irrelevant. It makes no difference.